Welcome to Home Field Trivia's Da Bears quiz. Like and subscribe for more content and leave a comment below. The Chicago Bears were one of the original NFL teams. That is true. The Bears were founded in Chicago in 1920. That is false. Walter Payton is the Bears' all-time leading rusher. That is true. The Bears have won only one Super Bowl. That is true. Mike Ditka was both a player and a head coach for the Bears. That is true. The Bears have always played at Soldier Field. That is false. Devin Hester holds the NFL record for most total return touchdowns. That is true. The Bears were the first NFL team to use the radio to broadcast a game. That is true. Gale Sayers holds the record with 6 touchdowns in a single game. That is false. Jay Cutler is the Bears' all-time leader in passing yards. That is true. The Bears have never had a season with 13 or more wins. That is false. The Bears were originally called the Decatur Staleys. That is true. The Bears have more Hall of Fame inductees than any other team. That is true. The Monsters of the Midway refers to the Bears' offense. That is false. Tit Butkus was an actor. True or false? That is true. Chicago won the Super Bowl in 1985. That is true. Brian Urlacher played his entire career for the Bears. That is true. The Bears have never had a quarterback throw for over 4,000 yards in a season. That is true. The Bears' 2018 defense led the NFL in scoring defense. That is true. The Bears share a stadium with the Cubs. That is false. Matt Forte rushed for over 1,000 yards 5 times in his career. That is true. The Bears have never lost a game in the playoffs. That is false. George Halas served as a player, coach, and owner of the Bears. That is true. The Bears are a part of the AFC North Division. That is false. William Perry fumbled in the Super Bowl. That is true. The Bears' current mascot is named Grizz. That is false. The team's nickname, Da Bears, was made famous by SNL skit. That is true. The Bears have a rivalry with the Detroit Lions that dates back to the 1950s. That is true. The Bears were the first team to score 70 points in a game. That is true. The Bears have never drafted a Heisman Trophy winner. That is false. Thanks for joining us for the Bears quiz. Like and subscribe for more content. Leave a comment below. Join us next time.